Asked you yesterday, I said, well, him taking his hand off the bars and raising it up, could that have been the difference? She's like, I don't know. And I'm like, for all the times we see these guys getting the tuck, that's the one time we didn't. And that one time might have cost James Rispoli. But we'll see that also from the other side. We've got a still picture of just how close it was. We saw it moving from the outside looking in, but you couldn't see Rispoli's bike. They actually do have the timing and scoring camera. I think it takes 10,000 frames a second. You see it in horse racing or in Formula One, where they do that line shot. You'll see it at the Olympics as well. But it definitely shows by about a foot. James Rispoli not able to catch up with or not able to keep into that lead. Hayden Schultz trying to do that today. Rispoli's teammate. His sister, a national level or a USA Swim member or in the diving team. Very talented family. Talented James Rispoli. We'll see him as well. Supersport champion, a dirt tracker. Now back to road racing again, getting the help from Gene Bertram and crew and the Vance and Hines and that Yamaha. We'll see what it can do here in just a minute. But we still have Jason Gregg next door that close out their show and their final thoughts as they move on to the next round as well. So we'll send it back over to Jason Gregg next door, see what they have to say, and we'll pick up with Twins Cup.
Wrapping things up here from Virginia International Raceway. Jason Pridmore, Jake Gagne's rolling, absolutely rolling.
Yeah, he fought some adversity, obviously, at the beginning of the year, and now you can see what he's starting to do with it. Danilo Petrucci, leads by 4 points over Gagne now, just 13 back. Cam Peterson, 26 back with Barber, Luis Escalante, Travis Wyman, and Ashton Yates.
Yeah, but in 13 days' time, we're at MotoAmerica, and that's a totally different track. And we know that the Ducati has got some big legs, and Petrucci's looking forward to going there, and they're going to test that pit race before we get there. Well, for Hannah and Jamie and Jason Pridmore, I'm Greg White. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time on FS2 in 13 days for Race 1 from MotoAmerica.
With a slight breeze blowing, this final race of the afternoon at the MotoAmerica Superbikes at Virginia about to take form is the Twins Cup here at Virginia International Raceway in Alton, Virginia, just outside the big city of Danville. Welcome, everyone, and those sticking around here on site and those watching on the interwebs and MotoAmerica Live Plus. We'll see some of the top riders in the country on Twins bikes battle it out for 13 laps here at VIR.
Yeah, what a great race yesterday. Jody Berry been fast all weekend, pretty much been the top guy in all the practices and qualifiers, but James Rispoli's getting better every lap. Doesn't have a lot of time on this bike, so I think even today he's going to be a bit stronger than he was yesterday, but you can just go down the list. I mean, any of these guys could win the race.
Jody Berry trying to go back to back here today. You see Josh Hayes down there talking with Corey Ventura, working with the MP13 rider. Let's take a look at yesterday's start. Hayden Schultz, he was Mr. Papa Wheelie, but we see Jody Berry up near the front, Hayden Schultz up near the front, James Rispoli at the front. These three put on one hell of a show.
Yeah, and these three actually broke away pretty early in the race and had a couple second gap on the guys behind them. Just kept pulling away, but every lap going into turn one, James Rispoli making a pass and Jody Berry going back and forth. And you see now, look at Hayden Schultz, gets his, throws his bike in the mix, and this is the run to the line. And Jody Berry, you can just see on the outside, just barely in front.
There it is. There's the super slow-mo camera, and you see about 1 foot difference between that. James Rispoli, when he took his hand off, was that the difference? And for a flat tracker to do that, that's something you don't see very often. Let's go down to trackside and see what Jason Wygand has to say.
Right, nearly at the scene of the crime here, the finish line just in front of us where he came up just that short. You've had quite an adventure this weekend, James Rispoli. Bike problems Friday, almost won yesterday. Can you seal the deal here on Sunday?
I mean, that's the whole point, right, is to get the W. That's why they brought me in here, is to do this. I've got a fair bit of experience, but, you know, the kids are riding good, you know, and Jody kept me honest yesterday. I feel like there could be a few more contenders today. I think people kind of might have looked at the race and gone, oh, you know, first 3 laps I lost everything. So, you know, let's see. We know where the start-finish line is today, and, you know, we'll see if we can't hopefully get through some lappers and try to drop some more, you know, grenades and keep these guys behind me. But it's going to be tough. You know, we need to get clean laps, and we need to break free, and we need to have, you know, a good, consistent race and try to continue to try to break this up.
All right, we could have more contenders, says James Rispoli today. Can you imagine racing being even better than what we saw yesterday? We'll see how much time we have. We'll catch up here with our defending champion, Caleb DeCarroll, on the Veloce Aprilia. You're getting better, it seems like, with each race and each time on the track.
Yeah, for sure. Just, you know, try to keep pushing hard, do the best I can each and every race. Hopefully I can bring the Veloce racing team the finish they deserve here. We found something in warm-up, but I think it's really going to help us here in the race. Ready to go have some fun, and you know, this VIR track is a lot of fun, very flowing track, and just ready to put in some good laps and keep my head down and charge hard these first couple laps.
All right, we'll see if this race where the #1 gets back to being #1. We were certainly used to seeing those types of performances last year as he won the title. A little bit of a slow start, although his teammate, Jody Berry, is your series leader and, of course, won that race yesterday. Lots of stories to report on here with our Twins Cup. We're going to talk to the other Vincent Hines Yamaha. This is Hayden Schultz, who was right actually there in that battle yesterday. That was close, and at one point it looked like you were going to make a move for the lead.
Yeah, it was a great battle with Jody and James, and I made a move for the lead there later on in the race, and unfortunately couldn't hold on to it. You know, I should have been a little bit more aggressive towards the end there, but that's just something that you take a mental note of and put that tool in your toolbox, and just try to keep that in mind for today as we get into the lappers. So we have the pace there. The team's given me a great bike. Super thankful to the whole Cyclotech Speed Weaponry group. They've done a great job getting James and I both sorted out really well. I think we've cleaned up a couple things that I could have improved on myself as a rider for today. So we'll see if the setup changes we've made is going to benefit us, and if we can hopefully put it on top of the box.
All right, that's going to be awesome to have those riders up there. Potential here to have a 2 Yamahas versus 2 Aprilias showdown in this Twins Cup class. So this is going to be exciting, and they're sounding the horns here as they're ready to take the motorcycles out. And I'll send it back up. Robbie and Roger, I think we're set for a grand finale for this weekend.
And other guys to look for. Thank you, Jason. Guys to look for, like Jackson Blackman there. One that we didn't hear too much out of yesterday. Northeast Cycle Outlet Racing track day rider. But look at the point standings, already 22 advantage, Jody Berry over Teague Hobbs. That's almost one full race with only, well, they've actually raced before because they did Daytona. 4 races in, they have a full race advantage.
Yeah, Jody's just been the most consistent guy so far this season, and also he's really limited his mistakes compared to some of the other competitors.
His worst race is a 5th place. That's going to do very well. Again, the other 2 victories, and then you have a 2nd place as well. When you're looking at Hayden Schultz, yes, he has 2 podiums, but 2 0-point days, and that kills you.
Yeah, that's tough, especially when a class is this competitive. You know, there's so many different guys that can win every week. It's hard to make up points, so you could lose a lot pretty quick.
One thing we haven't really seen here at VIR are the 2 Robum Engineering riders, Ben Glady as well as Teague Hobbs. Typically very fast. We know that's the bike that won the championship last year. Will we see them in the mix early on? And if we see them early, I think we'll see them there at the end, but we have not seen them at the front yet this week.
I think a lot of these guys took a note from yesterday's race that the top 3 got away so quick. So if you want to go with them, you're going to get out there with them.
And remember, Anthony Mazziato missed the start, had to start from last, worked his way all the way up near the front. He's going to be one to watch. What did Mazziato finish yesterday? Yeah, 4th place. So going from worst to darn near up to first. Maz has the speed.
Yeah, he definitely has the speed. And also, if you look at his best lap compared to the others, it's pretty much the same.
Yeah, dead on.
His best lap is dead on with the leader. So he's got a good starting spot right there on the 2nd row. He just has to get a good jump and latch on.
You don't make that mistake twice when you miss a start, do you? You do it. You might do it once, but you never do it that 2nd time.
Well, also, you never know, you know,
what
something could have happened, radio communication or bike issue.
Absolutely. Every number of rider that I see there in that picture could win this race. That's how competitive this class is. All Yamahas, all Aprilias. There is a Suzuki and John Knowles in there. Liam McDonald, haven't seen much from him this year on the Pure Attitude Racing Yamaha. The same thing, Dominic Doyle, a top 10 guy. Does he have a little more in him today? Trevor Standish, another name that you constantly see in the Twins Cup that just hasn't done well yet at VIR.
Gotcha. Yeah.
This will be their warm-up lap. There is Dominic Doyle, the Bartcon Racing entry, number 25. Dominic Doyle going down yesterday, we saw on the Bartcon Racing Yamaha. Few Suzukis in the field, one Kawasaki of Edward K, it looks like, but for the most part, Aprilia and Suzuki as we look at our starting grid.
Awesome. Really exciting. I mean, if you weren't in there, that wouldn't have been that good.
Row 3 with Corey Ventura on that outside next to T. Hobbs, Dominic Doyle. That's a strong, each one of these lineups. Yep. Same thing, Cody Wyman, not only doing the juniors, but now also riding twins, double duty this week.
Blake Davis won the race at Daytona. So, I mean, there's a lot. It's deep all the way down to the third, fourth rows are guys that's won.
There's Liam McDonald having to start on the inside of row 6. Not familiar territory for him as well. Crazy Spates, Chris Spates, the 138, join us this weekend on a new Aprilia to him inside of row 8. Full field though, and these guys had to qualify to get here. There's some guys that signed up that didn't get that opportunity because they only allow so many riders on that starting line. They'll all have that same opportunity. A 13-lap race. Weather, it was predicted that we may get a shower this afternoon around 5 o'clock. It's 4:09. Let's hope it lasts till after 5.
It looks good for now, though.
Yeah, it looks good. Everything's great till it's not. And we've made it all the way till the end. Let's keep holding on. Hey, you got a long drive to Kentucky, Roger.
Right.
You don't need to. What are you riding, a Yaris? What are you driving, a Yaris?
HVR.
Okay.
Some Reno Avis game. It's not. It's going to be a long 9 hours.
Yeah, they canceled his flight yesterday and moved him to tomorrow night. He said, forget that. I'm driving back. All right, start-wise, really, does it make a difference? You just can't lose 5, 6, 7 spots, but it really doesn't make a difference as long as you're in that top 2, 3.
I think if you're Jody Berry and James Rispoli, Hayden Schultz, you got a little wiggle room because you obviously have the pace. But some of these other guys can't let them get away because it's going to be too hard for them to match that pace and try to close in the gap.
The guy with probably the most experience would have to be James Rispoli. Won championships in Supersport, a race winner there. Berry, very talented, but Twins is where he gets all of his race wins. Let's see it. The light drops. We have a good jump by the Yamaha Rispoli in second, heading into that right-hand turn. Yep, Rispoli with a good run. It looks like Jody Berry on that far outside. And as you're a points leader, I don't want 4, 5, 6 people underneath me.
And you can see how tight it is as all these guys try to funnel through turn 1. Looks like they all made it pretty clean.
And Jody Berry, you can see that white bike back at about 5th or 6th. And you see riders trying to take chances like Blake Davis, the 22. Almost exceeding the track limits.
Just being aggressive early. Knows he doesn't want to fall back too far. He didn't qualify very well, so these first couple laps he really has to go.
I do think I see that Kawasaki sticking out like a sore thumb back there. I question whether there's actually one as we have a good battle up into that right-hander. The 7th turn on this circuit, James Rispoli, Caleb DeCarroll, Hayden Schultz is at Mazziato in 4th. Anthony Mazziato in the Aprilia in 4th. Mazziato riding for Rodeo Racing and Warhorse HSBK this year. DeCarroll is back on a Aprilia, but a different team, the Veloce Racing team, who the points leader is his teammate, Jody Berry, back and forth.
Looks like the top 6 trying to make a little bit of a break. There's Corey Ventura right there on that last spot right there behind Jody Berry, and you can tell how these guys are about to all group up on this front straightaway in the draft.
Yeah, that was Berry back in 6th spot. But yeah, Ventura, and there's a little bit of a gap, but those 6 guys, and how were they able to pull away from Ventura that much? And look at Mazziato. Again, he knows how to pass because he probably passed 30 people yesterday.
It's going to be a little bit harder, though, to make these passes today on these guys at the front. Their pace is going to be quite a bit higher. But, you know, you can see all these guys just fanning out every corner, everybody trying to make a pass where they can.
Rider in second, Caleb DeCarroll, was last year's champion. That's why he carries that #1 plate. Again, I told you, riding for a new team this year. He's a motocross rider. I mean, he's tried qualifying for motocross nationals, supercross races, and he said he took that time off between the last race and this one to kind of get that aggressive feel back in him. We see right here if he's aggressive going into this right-hand turn in 7.
He looks more aggressive today. You know, the season hasn't started the way he's wanted, and even last year, sometimes he didn't practice or qualify that well. He would always find himself there in the race, but this year's kind of been a little bit different. He struggled, but now it looks like he's kind of got his head down.
And I know Olin's the suspension builders for that, and he's straight lining it into this right-hand turn. He decides better of it, Jason, but he's looking much more racy, and now he has his teammate just behind him in Jody Berry.
Much more like the Caleb DeCarroll we saw last year, and a lot of it is set up with the Olin suspension. Everyone has said he has a very unique style of the way he wants his bike set up, which is very soft and very low in the suspension stroke, and actually prefers to use the tire a bit for suspension and almost bottom the suspension itself out. So that's different than most riders. Took a little while for the team and for Olins to understand that. Clearly they're getting it figured out now as we get into a draft pack down into turn 1.
Yeah, and you kind of get pulled into that first turn, and you see, whoa!
Teague Hobbs
went dive bombing on, and he couldn't do anything about it at some point.
And there's somebody else.
And that took Berry with him.
Lap.
Was that Berry or Mazziato?
Somebody else was laying in turn 1. I think they're going to red flag.
Yep, they are. Was somebody down
before them? They must have crashed the previous lap.
And evidently you would have thought that would have happened a fair amount before, because we're so early in the race. They'd only completed 2 laps. They would have had to have done it on first lap. Not sure how 1 lap somebody would be down in the first turn, but you're right. That is the 133 that was there. I don't remember. Yeah, that had to be the rider that was down first.
And then watch on the inside of your screen, just coming in way too hot. The red flag was already out.
Was it?
And a waving
Maybe
yellow.
that's why they sit up. And there's the rider that's down right there. So is that the first time that they could see it again? And it all comes down to the flagging stations and when it came out. If they're cooking down that front straightaway and it comes out right then, everybody backs up at the absolute fastest part of the track. And that might be why Teague Hobbs ran it hard.
But it gives these guys an opportunity that crashed there to try to get back up, get to the pits, and see if they can get back in this race.
Yeah, the Robum Engineering crew going to have to get on it quick, assuming that Teague is okay. And everybody just kind of wondering what happened right there. Jason's down there, I'm sure. And it was it James or is it Hayden, one of the 2 Yamaha riders? They already knew, even though the wreck kind of happened behind them, they already knew that there was a red flag. Jackson Blackman, want to see that last time. He was in 9th. With it being only 2 laps complete, probably a complete restart again, you would think.
Complete restart. But
drop laps.
Drop a couple of laps.
Now we deal with heat cycles in those tires. They got 1 good heat cycle in them. Caleb DeCarroll looked racier, much racier today. Red flag is out, in case you're wondering. How Ryder went down at the end of the front straightaway, I guess, on the first lap of the race. And as they came around the second time, the red flag was out. And the leaders, some of them checked up, some didn't at that point. And it looked like Teague Hobbs got into the back of another rider. Who was the rider he got into? Was it Mazziato? I thought I saw it was a red one. We know Teague Hobbs.
I think Jody Berry.
186.
And it looks like Jody's maybe made it back to the pits because he's got the P beside his name on the monitor.
Oh, there's the one that got caught up in it, right? That was the red bike that I thought it could have been Mazziato. We know Teague Hobbs for sure.
I'm pretty sure it's Teague Hobbs and Jody Berry.
Yeah, but we just still haven't seen Berry. And there's a white bike.
But he's got the P by his name, so I think he's made it back to the pits.
Okay, and there's That's the original rider that went down? It looks like Wesley Lacus out of Danville, California. And I hate to mention, but Lucky 13 is his team. Not so lucky. Let's see what happens again. You're going to see Teague Hobbs coming in with a lot of heat.
It's way on the inside.
To the right of your screen. And that's Jody Berry just looking to lean it in, and was nice and smooth. And
Jody's bike didn't look like it was going to get much damage.
He got hung, right? And Teague's bike got caught underneath it. Now they have to basically stay in contact or stay inside the track, right, in control of everybody. There is the 11 there. I think when it crashed and it laid down, I think you're right.
It just laid right on this bike.
It just laid right on and let the one underneath it do all the work. And that bike should have been, the one underneath it should have been Teague Hobbs, right? These are riders that must have went down on that first lap. That actually caused the incident, or caused the red flag to come out. Hayden Schultz, that last lap, was the leader by a scant 0.02 of a second over Jody Berry. We know Jody Berry, Mike, we don't know how much damage it is, but it did go down. His teammate Caleb DeCaro was third across stripe. Rispoli, Mazziato. Those 5 riders really basically on top of each other. 2/10 separated first and fifth. Corey Ventura didn't look like they gapped him really good. We talked about how he was in that little pack, and all of a sudden they just really pulled away. Having to do an evaluation with that rider in the Meet Those gear. So it does look like they are going to go to a complete restart, but with only 9 laps, not the 11 laps. So they should not have to add fuel or anything. The original grid, it will be a quick start procedure. Corey Ventura with another opportunity. Let's go down to Jason Wygant, trackside.
Well, I wish I had more to report, but they're not sure at the Robum Engineering team yet either the status of Teague Hobbs' motorcycle. I said, is there another bike coming in here to race? And they said, we don't know yet. So it's going to come in one way or two. It's going to be either something they can fix or something they can't. One way or another, they're going to find out in a minute, but they're not sure yet either. Pretty bizarre situation to happen as we're kind of into the red flag, and that might have led to the crash. We'll know more once that bike gets in here in a moment.
They're looking at Jody Berry's bike right there.
You know, even though the bike looked like it didn't flip, but he did get hit pretty hard, so that could have, you know, maybe bent the handlebar or knocked a few things loose. So they're just going to double check it, make sure everything's back to normal.
Get realignment, just bar position. You know, some of those things that just bug you and kind of get the feels, just get those T-handles working. Again, that right side for sure. And look at them, having a lever adjustment. Hey, when in doubt, just bang it out, right? Everything looks good there. Everything looked good for Anthony Mazziato. He had that hard charge yesterday. He worked up to 5th, or he was battling in 5th today in that lead pack today. Jason, as Jody Berry hops back on his bike and tests it out.
They're looking good for Anthony Mazziato. At least you got to start in your original grid spot today. First of all, how were you able to come from last to 4th yesterday?
It was a combination of having a good start and getting by most of the guys on the first 2 laps, so that way I didn't let the lead guys get away too fast. And coming through traffic, I was running the same lap times as the guys up front while making all them passes, so that was really easy to not let that gap open up too much. And once I got into 4th, I just was clicking them away, and just didn't have enough to get all the way back up to the lead group. But I think today, starting from our original grid position, we'll definitely be there come checker flag.
What'd you learn here on this first lap and a half or so that you did put in? How's it feeling?
The bike's feeling good. We're on the same setup as yesterday, and I knew that thing worked because I came all the way from last place up to 4th. So I'm pretty confident in my bike and ability to get her up on the box today.
All right, that's the goal. 1 position better at the finish and a whole bunch of positions better at the start. Mazziato was put to the back of the grid yesterday and still managed to pull off a 4th. See if we can grab anybody else while we're down here. Yes, there is some scrambling with the Jody Berry machine. Looks primarily cosmetic, I would say. I don't think they're thinking they're not going to be able to race, but the question is, can they get the bike right back where it was, which is obviously race-winning type condition. Oh, here we go. We got Teague Hobbs' bike. We knew it was going to show up eventually, and it just did. There is the 79. So we're going to see an all-out scramble here. It did not come back on the trailer. It came back on its own. So now the pressure is on this Robram Engineering Aprilia team to try to get Teague Hobbs' bike back in the race. We were starting to see some signs for both Hobbs and Glotty, his teammate, that they were going to be able to step up the pace and maybe run for a podium here. So this is going to be interesting. We'll give you an update in a moment once they get back to work.
And it's so important.
On the 79, but it's going to be all-time scrambler here, Robbie.
Jason, it's so important, too, because Teague Hobbs is the man in second in championship points, Roger. I mean, they got some work to do. They got to get the grass cleaned out first.
I think that's the first thing. Just get the grass cleaned out and then assess what's the biggest problem and what you have to fix. There's some things you might not be able to fix that a rider can ride around. But the handlebar, the clip-on would be the first thing that, you know, the rider's going to have to, if it's bent in, you're going to have to move it out. But if there's a couple other things bent, you know, if you can get in the race, that's all that matters if you can collect some points.
First thing's right there. It looks like they're telling them to get ready to go to the line here very shortly. But even rolling around that front wheel, you're seeing is that wheel bent. And it looked like it was able to roll freely. They're going to clean out some of that grass. If it's good to go, they're going to let it go back out. That looks cosmetic from my side. Again, maybe the positioning of some of those levers and such aren't perfect, but Teague's going to give it a run. Clean out a little dirt here and there.
And also, you want to get back out there because there could be another red flag.
Yes.
And then you can come right back in, and then the team could really make some repairs. So, you know, it's never over till it's over.
But he needs to make this this start now. They just told him to go out there. They have a certain amount of time, but they didn't hold him for very long. I mean, the second they told him to fire it up, they were back out and going. We'll see if Teague Hobbs can make that. If not, he'll have to start from the back. If he does not make this this siding like it will be a quick start procedure. Talk us through that because it's a little different than they would if they were just racing solely here.
Yeah, when they come around this lap, they'll have one crew member at their grid position, and once everybody makes it around, that crew member will walk away. All the crew members will walk away, and then they'll do their warm-up lap, and then the race starts. Before, you know, usually all the guys come around when the race is a normal start. They put tire warmers on, umbrellas, you know, interviews, but now it's just going to be a quick one.
And there's Anthony Mazziato heading out to the track. Did we see Teague Hobbs? Was that his bike that took off as well, or was that Mazziato we saw taking off? And no, they're holding, and that's a case. They're holding Teague Hobbs, and that was really quick, but he had to be there within a certain amount of time. And evidently he didn't make that time. So now, okay, he didn't have to worry about it. No panicking unless they say that bike's unfit, and they can tell him to turn around. But if he didn't make that sight lap, he's going to get to start. Now, will he take the back of the grid? Oh, once everybody goes the next time around, he'll take the back of the grid, right? It's not like he has to start from pit lane.
No, he won't have to start. He'll be able to take off back behind those guys whenever they go. So he'll still get a warm-up lap. So he'll be able to check the bike.
Yeah, so again, this is their siding lap, and they'll pull up onto their grid positions. Teague Hobbs will not be there. He'll be in pit lane, and when they go to take off the next time, he will then take his position at the back of the grid. So good and bad for Hobbs. Good that he's able to get out there. Bad that he's not going to be able to take his original grid position. Hopefully the riders are okay. They went down that originally brought out the red flag. Forgot about that, and I'm curious to see what Teague has to say after the fact, because I mean he was coming in hot, but was it in perspective? Was it in comparison to other guys that already slowed down that maybe saw the red? Had he not seen the red yet?
I don't know. He was right behind the leaders, so he was in the 8th, so he might have really got a good draft, and you know maybe there was an issue. You never know. Just kind of made a mistake, but we don't see a lot of mistakes like that out of Teague Hobbs.
No, you're absolutely right. Dominic Doyle, still warm out there. You can see some of the heat signature coming off the stuff. We did see the 22 of Blake Davis getting aggressive early on.
I don't think Anthony Mazziato made it out in time again.
It was close.
I seen the red flag when he was coming by.
My question is, they have a certain amount of time, is the second we saw the first bike fire up, they were gone.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like they waited down. They're like, typically everybody waits down at the end and they go. I don't even know that they waited, did they?
I seen the red when he came by. Yesterday he came from there to fourth, but it's going to be a little bit harder today with less laps.
This is the warm-up lap for these guys the last time around. Teague Hobbs will start in the back with a bike that is still a big question mark. We have Anthony Mazziato, who's fine. He knows he can charge hard, maybe get inside that top 5 again, but it just has to put a bad taste in his mouth knowing that he has to do it again.
Yeah, just especially when you have the pace to
win. Yeah, not just top 5, but to win the race, and you're not given that opportunity. I don't know what happened and why he wasn't prepared for that. Maybe they had to do something with that bike. Might have been in the bathroom. I mean, I'm telling you, it was quick. If somebody gets caught in the porta toilet, that is the wrong way to get it done.
He was right there. We interviewed him.
Yeah, but I'm saying if I say, hey, I got to go. Because, the second they did, they cranked up and they were gone. Yeah, didn't we hear the bike fire up as he was, as Jason was pulling away?
I'm not sure if it was his or not.
Yeah, I think so. As we were getting done with our interview, we saw that one bike crank up. Let's go to Jason Wygant.
As far as the Teague Hobbs bike situation, I mean, as you folks could see with the amount of grass and dirt collected in that thing, it was definitely not worse for wear. They sent him out because about a minute after he got into the pits, they were firing motorcycles up. So they just sent him out. I looked at, they adjusted the shifter, and that's about it. And I said, do you know if the bike is good? And they said, probably not, but we're going to find out.
Yeah. And that's a good crew. They're not going to put him out there if it's unsafe, but is it optimum? Probably not. So, they'll make sure that the grid is set from the back, looking from forward all the way to the back. You'll see somebody run across, maybe not at this angle, but they'll move with that red flag. We'll see the lights come on. We'll do it again. Again, original grid, minus a few alterations, 9-lap race ahead of them. James Rispoli with another good launch.
A lot better start this time for Jody Berry.
Yeah, Jody Berry's on that out. He doesn't mind being on that outside, and that kind of scares me a little bit when you know somebody can put the Stuff-O-Matic on you. But Caleb DeCarroll's the one that's back there in fourth this time. Jackson Blackman, he get a good start. He looks like he's up into fourth or fifth, sixth.
Schultz already moves his way into second.
And these two teammates break away. We got 2 Yamahas and 2 Aprilia teammates.
You know, Jody's bike just crashed, so he might take about a lap and just feel things out.
Yeah. Again, we didn't see too much damage. We did see they were having to make adjustments, so it did bend, move some stuff around. And Hayden Schultz going for the lead. The 49 taking advantage of the situation in turn 7. James Rispoli, his teammate, tucks just behind. Both on the Cycletech Speed Weaponry Yamahas R7s.
Good start from Ben Glotty. Also got his way up in the 5th already.
And that's Teague Hobbs' teammate, the sister bike on the Robum Engineering team. And it's good to see Ben because we have not seen him up at the front really this weekend.
I think they've had a couple issues they've been trying to sort out all weekend. Looks like they got it sorted, and he's in a good spot to have a good second race.
Yeah, he finished 7th yesterday, currently 5th, it looks like, possibly now as they come down to, you can see that green flag waving. Everything should be a go. Oh, a little bit of a wiggle from James Rispoli. He's trying to drive around that outside, gets the draft. The 2 Aprilias just behind him. Teammates with teammates.
Jackson Blackman made the move on Ben Glotty there.
And he looks like he's trying to close back in that quartet that's just in front of him. Jackson Blackman, I think, finished 2nd twice here last year. Once to Teague Hobbs, once to Jody Berry. I believe it was, and either way, he's looking for a little redemption, trying to get a victory. The 18 of Jackson Blackman, now sponsored by Northeast Cycle Outlet Racing and Track Day. Got a little bit of a push. Is that DeCarroll underneath?
Yep.
Caleb DeCarroll, the national champion, just underneath his teammate Jody Berry. I don't know if Jody's not feeling it quite yet, trying to let things sort out, but Caleb DeCarroll wants to get up in front, and we've seen it the past few years, whether it be last year where he was winning the championship, the year before when he was going at it with Rocco Landers. He likes being up front. He's okay with that. Let's go down to Jason Wygant.
Yeah, Jody Berry, they're confident. Yes, they did some damage to the bike. They said it was just cosmetic and handlebar clip-on, so they've got that fixed. They don't think there are any problems with the bike, so Berry at least mechanically should be 100%. Thank you, Jason. Good to go, and we see Berry there in fourth, trying to get in that wake of his teammate Caleb DeCarroll, had the fastest lap of the race at 1:31.37. DeCarroll got behind both of those Yamahas.
And Anthony Mazziato's got his way all the way up to 11th with the fastest lap of the race.
Yeah, he is angry. And Angry Maz, 1:31.1 compared to, say, DeCarroll. He was faster than DeCarroll by 2/10. And how many people did he pass? 10 maybe? He's finding new lines that people hadn't even seen before. Because you can't run the racing line the whole time coming through 10 riders in a lap. There's no way. You're doing some special stuff. DeCarroll likes going underneath there. What do you think about that?
Caleb, it looks aggressive today.
Yeah. It's aggressive, but that kind of chokes down the speed, though, as you make your way up the hill.
But maybe he feels like he has the pace to get away, and he wants to get up front and lead.
And these bikes also have different power characteristics as well. When we'd seen it before, we were usually talking about Suzuki's, and you see Jody Berry trying to run a different line on that outside going underneath. When it was Suzuki's and Yamahas, we were always talking about how the Yamahas had a little bit better motor maybe, but the Suzuki's handled. Well, now I don't know that one bike is actually faster than the other, although we did see Hayden Schultz kind of motor away a little bit at Daytona. But you see in the draft here, DeCarroll going to the inside. But I think Vincent Hines has those Yamahas dialed.
Yeah, the Yamahas look quick, but you know, all these bikes, the Yamaha and the Aprilia, they look so even.
Yeah, they do, don't they?
And did Jody Berry make the pass?
Yes, he did on the outside. Making the pass on the outside on his teammate. Again, using that draft, he didn't have just a double. He had a triple draft that he could use, but you still got to get it stopped and turned around, or turned in.
Caleb is way up the inside of the track, though. I think he thought he was going to maybe try to sneak up the inside of somebody.
And then a nice smooth Jody again on that outside with a lot of speed, but he's still able to get it turned down in a nice preferred line, able to make that pass. And as we work our way down the top five, James Rispoli, Hayden Schultz, Jody Berry, Caleb DeCarroll, Corey Ventura in fifth. So Ventura evidently able to get by Jackson Blackman, Ben Glotty in seventh right now. But everybody chasing James Rispoli. Jason?
Yeah, and you guys are mentioning the horsepower here. Rispoli actually lost an engine on Friday. They have a different engine to back up in it, and he did say it's a little bit down on power from what they would have had with the full race motor they wanted to race. So despite that, definitely using the draft to his advantage. Also, they had problems with their front suspension setup on Friday, and they lost a lot of time with that. So they're still building, even though he still nearly won the race on Saturday, making the best of his situation right now.
Thank you, Jason. And Anthony Mazziato just run the fastest lap again, a 1:30.8. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't the light race lap record a 1:30.6? So he's doing all of this in traffic, and he's less than like 0.2 of a second off of that time from Hayden Schultz yesterday.
Yeah, man, that's impressive, and it's just going to add insult to injury after this race, knowing you had the pace to win and had to start in the back.
Hayden Schultz with a quick turnaround to see if Caleb DeCarroll was back there, and Caleb absolutely is just back there.
Jody Berry has been patient, you know, fourth there for a while, then he started making his moves. He's not as quick as they were yesterday, and I think maybe he thinks he's going to get out front and try to push that pace down into the 30s.
We couldn't see him check out, and James Rispoli, he's a seasoned veteran. He's been there, done that, seen that, and he has a good steed underneath him. Berry, if he can try and, I mean, he's going to try and pull away. If he can't, I mean, he's got to be thinking about strategy. I mean, now do I take more insides? Where's he going to pass me? Because everything's happening behind him. You're just guessing it this whole time.
Yeah, and with the race shortened, when they come around this time of the flag, it's only going to be 4 to go.
We have 4 guys in this race that could win, and a good gap back with, I think it's Corey Ventura and Jackson Blackman battling it out for 5th place. But really, it's a 4-man race, and then you see, yeah, it is Ventura now that is moved by Jackson Blackman. Corey Ventura on the MP13 Racing entry, trying to close it. Yeah, there comes the Rodeo Racing Warhorse HSBK entry. He might be fun to watch. He's passed 2 people that lap. The 5/16th, the Anthony Mazziato, is up to 9th now. And he about 0.3 of a second faster than Cody Wyman, and he was less than a 10th behind Wyman. So we're seeing a great run here in the top 4. Jody Berry's oblivious at what's going on behind him, and Caleb DeCarroll looks more like the old Caleb DeCarroll we used to seeing back on the Yamaha and the Robum Engineering Aprilia.
All these guys are being really aggressive today. I think with the race being shorter, they know it's winding down quick.
And it's that second day of a 2-day event too, right? That second day, you can always kind of throw a little more at it. We don't have to worry about, man, I got to fix the bike for tomorrow, or just in case you did throw it away and whatnot. Yeah, look at DeCarroll taking some of those, harder charges, outside lines. It might pay off at the end, and the end's not far away. Nice and smooth down the hill.
They're going to see now if they can get that run on Jody, see if they can't get him before the line. That might help them with their strategy of what they want to do on that last lap.
That Aprilia that time had some pretty good pull, but the finish line's already happened. And you see Caleb DeCarroll maybe plucking off one rider. That would be Schultz, and actually able to get underneath Jody Berry, but can he come out still in second? And he does. Schultz tucks underneath. Great racecraft by both of those guys.
Jody Berry goes from 1st to 4th.
And he got hung out. He just got too far wide. And I love that first turn, the opportunity for riders to do that.
Caleb, every corner looking up the inside.
We do see it coming into 7. When he does, though, if you're one of those riders behind, you need to just go ahead and start outside, right? I mean, if you're that rider in 3rd, you see Caleb go so steep.
He got a good run this time.
He might get it. You said he's going to go underneath him. Ooh, he's wanting to. He needs a half a bike, and Schultz did. Look at Hayden Schultz. He did exactly what I said. Now they're going to go side by side, and he's going to get a good run. Up at the top here, will Schultz be able to dive in and go underneath into 10? You get these good runs. Here it comes. Nope, Schultz taking that outside. And all of those guys took the more inside line to kind of guard. Anthony Mazziato still in 8th place, a 100th of a second behind Ben Galati now. He got by Cody Wyman. So once again, we're going to see Anthony Mazziato probably working up and into around 6th spot. A pass for the lead. There's some power, some drafting power by Caleb DeCarroll underneath James Rispoli. Hayden Schultz putting in a move on the outside. The Indiana boy now, newly married, going for another win. He took a victory in Daytona with using that horsepower, and it looked very much like what we just saw there.
That was impressive. I didn't know if he's going to be able to get it stopped after that draft as late as he broke around those guys on the outside. And I think he learned some stuff yesterday. I think after the lappers kind of got in his way yesterday, they might be coming up on some, and he wants to be the first one through.
Yeah, he didn't want to relive what he had yesterday, because he absolutely had a chance to win. And he said, the podium was good, but I felt like I had enough to win that race. You follow him on social media, and he does have enough, but can he win this race? His own teammate is going underneath him there. You see Jody Berry, those 2 white bikes are 2 teammates of Veloce Engineering. The 2 teammates just in front of them are going side by side. And if you're in 3rd, when you got 2 guys side by side, where do you go?
You're hung out unless you try to go way up the inside, which is going to be, hard to make the pass in the corner. If you're on the outside, you take a chance of running off.
And then your own teammate, if you're the rider in 4th, you just do the opposite, right? You have to do something different. You can't play follow the leader the whole time. And an opportunity right now is Jody Berry having a good draft, possibly a triple draft coming down the front straight.
He needs a really good run out of this last corner.
He needs 1 or 2 guys here in this turn. He still will have a shot because the next time they come through this straightaway, they will get the white flag. It is this time around. We go for 2 laps to 1. This is it.
Joey.
Look at him. We saw it. Look, we've got a Yamaha sandwich, and it looks like Rispoli gets closed out. And Hayden Schultz, it's this time. You got to pull away right now, brother, because you got a fight going on behind you. Jody Berry into second, Rispoli third. Caleb DeCarroll, we've seen him aggressive the entire race. Rispoli's wanting to go underneath here.
He was looking on the inside, but Jody cut it off.
And look what DeCarroll does. DeCarroll's going to want to pull underneath. There goes Rispoli again. DeCarroll's going to get a good drive on the outside. It's going to set him up. Boy, he's out of line, out of position. They're swapping back and forth, and that could cost them a chance for the victory. But look how close Jody Berry is. Can Berry get underneath?
I think he's going to wait till the last lap.
And try and do another draft pass on the finish?
But he's going to have to block off.
This is the last lap. Is he going to go down that front straight and just wait till then?
I don't know. Rispoli's already right there again.
I mean, it's not a wood door, but he's knocking for sure. And how much of a draft will Caleb DeCarroll get too with all of these riders just in front? That was it. This is the last blocking ability unless Jody Berry can get underneath there. But if you do that, you throw away your chance at the end. So let's see. How will the draft play a factor? Watch how smooth all of these 3 riders behind have to be, or is it Hayden Schultz with that motor on that Yamaha R7 able to do it? Cycle Tech on the blue bikes. You got Veloce on the white ones. Berry on the outside drives around the outside, and another win for Jody Berry. The 2 Yamahas, second and third. DeCarroll comes across in fourth. Jody's the man in twins this year. So far, he is looking good. That was a hell of a race from all 4 of those riders. Where did Anthony Mazziato finish?
5th.
Oh, my goodness. He did it again. He did it again. By 0.4 of a second over Jackson Blackman, Anthony Mazziato. He was 6.5 seconds behind Caleb DeCarroll. Corey Ventura would finish 7th, and his best lap of the race was his last lap of the race. Teague Hobbs able to crash, get the bike back up, and finishing 12th. That was a good ride by him.
Yep, and get the points. That's all that matters. It could come down to a handful of points at the end of the year.
Wow.
Tell you what, Twins Cup this year has provided some good racing.
Yeah,
Every single race has come down to almost a photo finish.
Absolutely. And what is it? Talking to Jody's team, they said, man, that dude just knows how to ride a bike. We can put him on anything, he's going to go fast. But when you get on a bike that just kind of suits your style right off the start, I mean, that seems like what we see. We know that Aprilia is a little bit stiffer. It's kind of built for the road and race. And look at Jody Berry driving around that outside, using that draft to perfection.
Perfect. Got a good run out of that last corner. And Jody Berry last year had the speed.
Yes.
But,
he had injury too.
Had injury, but all the bad luck. Just constantly had bad luck, and it seems like now that's all out. And
the privateer effort, he had the speed with a smaller budget and a smaller team, and a team fun bunch, the family doing it. Now that he has Veloce and takes some of that responsibility and that worry away from him, you're seeing what he can do.
And now he gets to focus on his riding. Focus on his racing. In between races, he can mentally prepare for each race now, because that's all he has to think about. He just shows up and gets to ride, and that makes a huge difference.
And a fun guy too. I know they had the birthday party down in the pits, and Paddock and the Veloci's team, but the team fun bunch motif still holds true. The friends and family wear those Hawaiian shirts, and you see it on his bison gear too. They still got a little bit of that flavor going out there. He's a good guy. I mean, and he has fun, and I promise you, there's a smile from ear to ear under Jody Berry's helmet. Let's take a look at some of the race recap here. Berry was out in front. Each time we came into 7, I thought there was Aprilia going to dive underneath these Yamahas. Nobody could ever really make that pass.
No, and everybody took turns at the front.
Jody Berry there at that time of the swing, but it wouldn't be the only time. The only time we would see movement up front.
It was good to see Caleb DeCarroll back.
Yeah.
You know, the old Caleb.
And you're not going to win every race, but this looked like one of those times where Caleb could win every race if he does what he did.
Yeah, any of those guys could have won.
Absolutely. It reminds me of the Junior Cup. You know, when we saw those 6 or 7 kids on that last lap at Atlanta, well, this is the same thing. Only one can win, but you can still feel happy for all 4 of them because they gave it their all. And Jody Berry, Hayden Schultz, and James Rispoli filled out that podium. Hayden's got to be happy with that second place. He loses 5 more points to Jody, and I think he had a feeling of, I got him this time, and he couldn't do nothing about it. When you're in front, you're breaking the wind for the guys behind you. You're stuck.
And when you're behind, it's a little bit easier to get that good run out of the last corner. And honestly, Jody always looked like to the start-finish line where he was really pulling those guys, and they were better after the start-finish line.
That's a fierce mullet that one guy has, though. Jason, down there with the winner. I told you to be smiling ear to ear.
Oh, no doubt about it. Hey, compared to yesterday, that was a gigantic lead to draft pass with maybe 20 feet to go. Seemed like you were in control, even though you were back to 4th at one point. How did that race play out?
Oh, holy balls. It was a wild one out there. Crashing before the red flag, getting in here, fixing her up nice and good. Big thanks to the Veloce crew for giving me a bike that can win again. Yeah, we just, again, played it just right. So,
did you know that you were in the position you wanted to be? Did you want to be in second before that last straightaway?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I was thinking about passing for the lead, trying to see if I could just get out front and pull it to the straight. But as soon as I was behind Hayden, it just felt right. So, all
right. Jody Berry, a winner again, a weekend sweep.
CFE crew down there cheering him on. Hayden Schultz did everything he could. He was in the lead coming out of that last turn. But again, when you're in the lead at certain tracks, we're going to see it in the next round too. Honestly, Road America, that final turn coming up that straightaway, except this time at Road America, he hopes to be the one across the checker flag first.
Well, that close. Did you feel that you might have had it, or did you know first place was not the place to be at the finish?
I didn't know if I had it or not. You can only hope. It was tough. I was kind of battling a little bit of front-end chatter, so I kind of wanted to lead out of there because I felt like that was my best shot. I didn't know if I'd be able to get a run enough on these guys to pass them before the finish, so I felt like my best shot to win today was to lead these last couple laps. We did that. I just didn't execute the last corner as well as I would have hoped. That's on me. My team gave me a bike to win today, and I just didn't quite get the job done, but we're so close, so that's what makes it really hard. So we'll go to the next round. The Cycle Tech Speed Weaponry guys are incredible. They've worked, again, so hard to get another double podium today, so I'm so proud of them. Big shout out to Dogwood Residential and 1833 CJ Nose for also coming on my program to get me out here and just have fun battling with these guys. So hats off to Jody. He played it perfect again. I need to brush up on my chess skills and come back and get ready for Road America.
All right, yeah, it was high-speed chess for Hayden Schultz, and he came up just short.
Yeah, he did, and but it's valuable points. He was 6th in the championship. He's going to gain another 20, or he's going to acquire another 20 points and work his way up a little bit closer to Jackson Blackman. Blake Davis were in front of him. Anthony Mazziato. James Rispoli back in the series and back out in front. We're seeing a familiar face once again. That 43 has been looking pretty good in his limited time here in MotoAmerica Twins Cup.
Could be fun here. 2 Aprilias, 2 Yamahas battling the whole way. Is that race fun or just frustrating? How does it turn out for you?
Dude, a little frustrating. I want to win, so, that was the plan today. Make amends to the mistakes we made yesterday, but there was no lappers to kind of do that. I knew I was a little bit of a sitting duck down the straightaway, so, but dude, they built me such a good bike. It handled so sweet. I was through, sector 2 in the last sector. I was so good. I just couldn't really do anything with it, but dude, hats off to my teammate, to lead on the last, to give it a go. It was kind of our only option. The other bike was a little quick, and listen, we've got valuable data after this weekend, and we can kind of see if we're going to keep going with this. I got to give a shout out to Yamaha building a great bike, Gene Burcham, my crew, all the fans that stuck around, everybody on Facebook watching live, and if you're in Florida and you want to buy a house, hit me up.
Wow, this guy really does it all, selling houses and racing any type of bike really fast.
That's awesome. Again, Cycletech and Speed Weaponry giving him a good steed, and he has a good teammate in Hayden Schultz. As we take a look at the results here from the Twins Cup, Mazziato still amazing working inside that top 5. But again, you look at this page, and we know as we progress, Roger, through the series, any one of these guys can win.
Yeah, and also look at Cody Wyman, top 10.
Yeah, first time in Twins.
Definitely getting better on the Twins bike.
I think he's going to be in for the long haul as well. Cody Wyman, one to look for. Wrench Motorcycles entry. But that's the race. When we look at the championship, it's not plus .078. It's plus many.
A lot.
When you keep doing what Jody Berry's doing, and now 3 wins in a row, plus a second, plus a fifth, that's going to put him 43 points ahead of Teague Hobbs. How many rounds now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds in, and he's already 2 races almost ahead.
Yeah, but look how close that battle is from second all the way down to about 7th.
Yeah, you know, absolutely right. And where would Anthony Mazziato be? He would be in second probably if it wasn't for missing or having to go to the back of the grid both times in both races here. But as far as the racecraft and the passing, nobody passed more riders than Anthony Mazziato did this week. Let's take a look at the schedule here. Again, we started off the year, the special race in Daytona, but then when we kicked off MotoAmerica, Circuit of the Americas, check. Michelin Raceway, Road Atlanta,